Good morning, my name is Jake May, and this semester I had the pleasure of interning at Professional Engineering Consultants. Professional Engineering Consultants, or PEC, is a consulting firm. They were started in Wichita, Kansas around 1965. What a consulting firm does is basically companies or the city or the state or the government will hire them to design and model projects for them. In PEC's case, it's usually construction projects, so big renovations, additions, or new buildings. They do have all 4 divisions of engineering, so they have mechanical, structural, electrical, and civil. So they're able to handle pretty big projects all by themselves because they don't have to outsource any division of engineering to other companies. Some of their projects that you might be familiar with is the new Windsurge Stadium, the Riverfront Stadium. They handled all of the renovations and reconstruction with that. They also did, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Coke Industries expansion. They had a massive addition a few years back, and they handled that too. And they also had some engineers working on our new gym at the high school. They had some guys that were designing it and doing the HVAC and modeling for it. So, because I didn't have one set mentor throughout the semester, I was moving around between different divisions. I started in structural, then electrical, then civil and mechanical, so I didn't have one mentor, but there were a few people that kind of guided me around and helped me out more. So the first one was Clay. He was a structural division manager. He's been at PEC for about 17 years, and he went to K-State for college. Next I went to electrical with Mark. He's been there the longest out of these 4. He's been there for 22 years, and he also went to K-State. And then I moved to civil engineering with Trevor. He's been here for about 9 years, and he also went to K-State. And then finally I was at mechanical engineering with Kevin. He's been there for about 4 years, and he went to WSU. It was really cool to see all their different perspectives on not only the different types of engineering, but the different schooling and the different routes that they took to get where they are, because some people like Mark, he didn't have an electrical engineering degree, he had an architectural engineering degree, but because engineering's so kind of transitive and you can switch over somewhat easily, he ended up in electrical and he likes it a lot more than what he studied in school. So it was cool to see their ideas and get their input and their advice on all of this. Throughout my semester, obviously I can't engineer something. I don't have the schooling or the experience necessary to really help out their design process, but they did let me use their softwares and kind of play around with what they do on a day-to-day basis. So some of the softwares that they used, one was called Revit. It's an Autodesk system, and it's a 3D modeling system. So basically you can draw on the computer a 2D model on a flat plane, and then you can extrude it into a 3D rendering, and it'll look exactly how it should look when it's built. Something cool about Revit is PEC is one of the first companies to kind of fully dive into using the software. So they have what's called families in Revit. They make all the different parts and supplies and materials that you would use in the real world application, and they put them into Revit so it looks exactly how they would in real life. So this gives the buildings and all the projects a really realistic look, even when it's just in the design phases. Another one I used was AutoCAD, which is kind of similar to that. It's a 2D or 3D modeling system, and basically it's the same thing, just not as visually advanced, so it doesn't have as many of the rendering qualities that Revit would. And then also, I didn't think I would learn as much in this, but I learned a lot in Microsoft, because here at our school, we all use Chromebooks, so we're used to the Google Office format of things, so it was really an adjustment for me to use Microsoft Office and Word and Excel and even Outlook instead of Gmail. So that was an adjustment I had to make. So going through my 4 divisions I was at, I spent 2 weeks at each one, and like I said, I really couldn't help much with their day-to-day work. They let me kind of play around with some modeling softwares. This first one was at structural. They gave me a blueprint of a building they were doing, and they just had me go in and try my best to model the 3D model based off the blueprint the best I could. So that's what I ended up with after about 2 weeks, which I thought it looked pretty cool once you modeled it, because that's exactly how it should look when you go to build it. Next, I went to electrical. This right here, it's kind of hard to see, but it's called a one-line diagram, and basically it just tells it basically shows how the power gets, from the generator or the transformer outside all the way down to your individual light switches. So this is actually something that did help them with their day-to-day process, because I was able to do it myself. And it just shows, it goes from the transformer outside to your panel boards to your light switches and your outlets. Then I went to civil, and that was another area where I actually helped them with something. They're actually doing a project for the city of Wellington. They needed to reroute a sewer pipeline to go under this highway, and there are a couple of ways that they could have done it. So my mentor had me use the software and just lay out some proposed designs of where this pipe could go. So I think I did 3 different routes for this pipe, and I modeled it the best I could, and then they actually went and picked one of those and went ahead with that design. And then finally, as in mechanical, a lot of mechanical at PEC has to do with HVAC and plumbing. So I did a lot of work with sizing equipment for a building. So you can model the building, and their softwares they have will show you, how much power this building will need to adequately heat and cool it. So that's what that is just me going through and modeling the equipment within the software. So some soft skills I acquired while I was at my internship. A lot of these go hand in hand. First was time management. The way they do it at PEC is with these massive projects, you have to have milestones to set goals for, so you can make sure you're always moving forward. So they would do a 10%, which was just like a basic design, and then they do a 30% complete, 60% complete, and then eventually 90, and then 100. So that's a way that they can make sure everyone's on the same page, instead of trying to work on the fly and send your designs to this guy and he tries to critique them. It's just a lot easier to have milestones set to meet. Next was communication. This and organization and time management kind of go hand in hand with each other with that 30, 60, 90%. It's very important, especially when engineers are working throughout different divisions or throughout different companies, that they communicate and are organized with their designs and drawings. One of the projects they had mentioned, I don't know if you guys have seen the construction on 21st Zoo Boulevard. Right across from the zoo, there's a bunch of construction, and that's actually going to be a new water treatment plant. And they have, I think they said, 4 different companies working on it, tons of engineers working on it. So one of the biggest things they've struggled with is having interfering plans throughout divisions. You'll have electrical pipes running into plumbing pipes, and it's just very cluttery when you don't have it organized. So all 3 of those things go hand in hand. And then finally, design. I didn't realize how much creative control engineers can have in this field. Obviously they have their requirements with the math involved with it, but a lot of these engineers, the better engineers are the people who have had experience and know what to do when, they might have to take a different path than normal. So my best or most memorable day would probably have to be my first day, because a lot of the days looked the same for me because I was at an office and a desk. But the first day, actually getting that desk was probably the coolest. They set me up with my own monitors, my own computer, my own chair, and you can't see it, but off to the side they even had my little name tag that said Jake May Intern. So I thought that was kind of neat to have. And they gave me an email, and I actually got my name shouted out in their company email saying welcome to the PEC team. So I just thought it was a cool or memorable experience to have, is starting my first day at a professional workplace. My post-secondary plans as of now are to attend Kansas State University, major in mechanical engineering, and then hopefully secure an internship at some sort of consulting firm. PEC actually said that they would give me an interview, or they would help me reach out and get an internship in the future if I wanted one. So I thought that was a really cool offer from them. And then eventually I'd like to work at some sort of consulting firm, whether that's a company like PEC or something along those lines. Finally, I would like to say thank you for the PEC staff and my mentors. It was a big effort to get me working there, so I really appreciate them putting in all the effort that they did and offering me the time and knowledge and advice that they gave me, because I know I wasn't a huge help to their day, and a lot of the time I was taking time out of their day, so I'm really appreciative of them taking the time to help me when they obviously could have just said no. I'd also like to thank Ms. Burkamp, because we did have some issues getting me an internship to start. It took a few weeks to get it started, but she was very persistent in getting me there, and I really appreciate that as well. So overall, this was a great experience. I really enjoyed it. I thought I got a lot out of it, and I would definitely recommend it to businesses and students in the future.